Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Some huge matches have been made for NXT TakeOver WarGames in just a few weeks. I am Luke Owen, this is El Fakador Laurie Blake, and welcome to the post NXT WrestleRamble review, where I thought this was a terrific show this week. I thought this week was absolutely awesome.
It was a lot of good fun.
It was a lot of good fun, particularly in this main event segment where probably the big match that was made on this show was announced here, which is, so the whole show had been building up to this match that was announced last week, of the War Raiders versus Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, Bobbled Fish, of the Undisputed Era.
The wee bubbled fish.
The wee bobbled fish. And I suddenly realised, during the Oney, Lorcan and Danny Burch tag team match, there was only 12 minutes left on the timer. So I thought to myself, well, that's not going to be a match then, is it?
Like, we are not having a match, no.
We are not going to get that promised main event. And we didn't, because Undisputed Era were in their sort of like area where they cut their promos. And Adam Cole's sort of like, he's swinging on the thing and he's about to say something. And then all of a sudden it goes like, whoa! And he gets pulled backwards by Hanson and Rowe, the War Raiders. And then the big schmoz kicked off, and they battled inside, they battled here, they battled there, and while they were battling there, being outside Full Sail, Ricochet shows up, and he runs across a table, and they do some spots there, and then they end up going back inside, and as the numbers game got the better of the babyfaces, because Undisputed Era with their 4 members, out comes Pete Dunne to a hero's welcome.
Huge pop.
Absolutely huge pop for Pete Dunne, and he comes down with a chair and he hits a fish with one, I think, or he hits Cole.
He hits Cole, who comes out to meet him.
And then he tosses it at Kyle O'Reilly, and now it's a fair fight. And then William Regal comes there, he's like, bloody hell, I'm just not happy about this.
I'm so annoyed.
So annoyed, I don't want this happening on my show. And he announces that at WarGames, as we all thought it would happen, it's the WarGames match. It's going to be Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Bobbles Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, the Undisputed Era, versus Ricochet, Pete Dunne, and the War Raiders inside WarGames.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, as you well know, because Laurie and I do these reviews, Ollie doesn't watch NXT. And so he always asks us, what was the show like this week? And
it's the same answer every week. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I say pretty much.
Pretty decent.
So I said, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I told him that main event segment, and he was like, that does sound really good.
Good to middling amazing is normally what NXT sits at.
Yeah, and then I was like, he kind of like went through the match mentally in his head. He was like, oh, so it's Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders. I was like, yeah, and he goes, God, that does sound really good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, mate, it does. But I thought this was a terrific main event segment.
I love this segment. The only thing I thought, and this is obviously anything to do with the NXT, but the only thing I thought was ridiculous was the weird French square that is outside Full Sail that they ended up brawling in. It was like, oh, suddenly we're in Bruges. Like I don't know what's going on. Like, where are we now? Why is this like? But it looked like a set. It looked like they built like a fake. I don't know, like there was a pretend patisserie in the background. Like, I was like, what's going on in this
Someone
bit?
on a bike with some garlic.
Yeah, oh no.
They're having a fan.
Just this weird, like, Western European square outside Full Sail University. That threw me off for a bit. But then there was some amazing spots in this bit as well.
Like, I loved Ricochet
they lawn
darted
darted Cole into the side of a van.
Yeah, it was wicked.
I think it was Hanson maybe it was Rowe, actually just bumped Bobby Fish against the railing and stuff, and then they lobbed Roderick Strong over the barricade, which was
amazing.
Amazing, yeah. It was such a cool brawl, and I think NXT's proven that it does these backstage bits a lot better than Raw.
Well, yeah, and I think
SmackDown.
I think you can tell that it's very much a Triple H thing, because a lot of the times with NXT, and one of the things I think a lot of people really like about NXT is it feels quite Attitude Era at times.
Yes.
This really does feel like an old school angle. And by old school, I don't mean like your 80s and 90s old school. Like your late 90s, early 2000s sort of thing you would get on Raw. I mean, it almost feels like that Raw before the Invasion pay-per-view where they had the sort of brawl all over the building and stuff. And I think that's why, for me, I was like, this is so cool. I mean, I had my reservation I had against this was that I didn't like the idea of having WarGames as an annual show. Because it worked last year. Like, it made thematical sense to do it last year because you had all this going on and you were like, well, the only way to settle this is in WarGames.
You already had all the tag teams set up and stuff like that, yeah.
But now when you do it as a yearly thing, you have to essentially fudge a story together
Oh,
that always happens around this point that just so happens can be solved inside WarGames.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where it feels a little bit contrived. So I would have kind of preferred WarGames to be like Hell in a Cell used to be. Like you would do it for an event, but it wasn't built around the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It was just like, we need to end this feud, and the only way we can do that is inside Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, it's the same as like suddenly having all these matches where you're like, well, we have to have a tables, ladders, and chairs match to decide now. But it's like, why?
Oh, and thankfully it's TLC this Sunday.
Well, you keep sitting down and you keep climbing up, and this guy, he puts things on tables. It makes perfect sense.
Yes, so that was about my only reservation to this. But I just thought this was such a fun closing to the show, such a fun angle, and I thought everyone just was, like, the crowd were massively into it. The crowd were really great all night anyway. You can tell this is early in the tapings. But it was just, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and man, I'm looking forward to that match.
Yeah, and I think the thing with WarGames is, like, at least in this scenario, they've made it work, the kind of, the obvious setup for it. But I guess the better thing to do going forward would be just, like, let's just have WarGames at a random time of year.
That's it, yeah, exactly.
Like, let's just, like, it doesn't it can be annual, and we'll have one every year, but we don't have to telegraph it so obviously to be like, it has to happen at the exact same time every year.
That's my point, yeah.
And then just be like, then just... Cause
like you could do it at Brooklyn.
Exactly.
You could do it at any of the other tapings.
Yeah, well, it could be a WarGames pay-per-view. You just don't need to tell people in advance that it's going to be WarGames. Like,
that's true, yeah.
Let's just pretend it isn't. And then, like, in June, we go, it's WarGames now.
Yeah.
Because we have the story set up that's going to go, and people can speculate then about when WarGames is going to take place, when we've got enough people ready to be in this match.
And it's a traditional WarGames match this time around, whereas last year it was like the three teams against each other, and while you had like, if I remember correctly, you had like the three guys at the start, but then when the buzzer went off, the whole team was able to enter.
Yeah, so three guys started, and then the teams came in, and so it was always this weird structure where everyone had different advantages going forward.
Yes, whereas we now got a traditional WarGames match instead, where it's going to be 1-on-1, then a 2-on-1, then a 2-on-2, then a 3-on-2, and then a 3-on-3, then a 4-on-3, and a 4-on-4, and that's when the match officially, so WarGames officially begins.
I love rules.
I love rules as well, and I love WarGames matches, so I'm actually really looking forward to this year where it is going to be in that traditional 4-on-4 mode, and I think that's going to make it a lot of fun. My favourite story with Vince Russo was like when they essentially did their version of WarGames in TNA. Lethal Lockdown, I think they called it, if I remember correctly. Every time they tried to do one, he always tried to give the baby faces the advantage. And everyone kept stopping and was like, well, no, because that doesn't make sense. Because that means the baby faces are always winning. The whole point of WarGames is that the baby faces are getting the win, but then the heels get the numbers advantage. Then they beat down that baby face until he gets help, and then they make the comeback. But then the heels get another person in and get the numbers advantage again. So you're always playing that game. Vince Russo was like, no, the baby faces can have the advantage. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way. Then you just feel bad for the heels.
Yeah, you're just like, they're getting a really bad run of this. No wonder they're annoyed.
But that wasn't the only big match that was announced for TakeOver WarGames, because we also found out who Tommaso Ciampa's challenger is for the NXT Championship.
Tommy Champion is taking on the Velveteen Dream.
Indeed it is. Velveteen Dream will be challenging for the NXT Championship at TakeOver WarGames, which is a match that I don't feel massively excited about. I love Ciampa and I love Dream, but for some reason I don't look at Dream and I think like, oh, you're ready to be an NXT Championship contender. Do you know what I mean?
There's a lot else on as well, I think is the other problem. It's very hard to build hype for this one. As good as Dream is and as amazing as Ciampa is, it's hard to build hype for this one. I do feel like there's going to be, and there's hints this week, some sort of Lars Sullivan-based injection either into this match or possibly kind of trying to take away the number one contendership from Dream at some point in the next couple of weeks.
That's it. He said that it goes like, I'm just going to break his back, essentially. I'm just
he went for the Bane solution, did he? I will break you!
Exactly. So we got that match announced. And you're right, I think. It's because it's because this match is, well, this pay-per-view rather, is built more around the WarGames match. You can have that... say like your mid-carder going for the belt. It's like when Bob Holly used to challenge for the WWE Championship because it's the Royal Rumble and it doesn't matter who challenges for this championship.
This is definitely like, Ciampa's defense here is, I think, one, guaranteed, two, just going to be way before the WarGames match because there's going to be a lot of setup.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I think also maybe Black and Gargano, which is the other announcement that was on this show because Aleister Black came out looking for him, and it was said, "Oh, you're gonna get your shot at him, but it's going to be at TakeOver WarGames." That might be higher up the card than Ciampa, to be honest.
It could very well be, really. Like, I'm not sure I can see Ciampa being middle of the card, considering he's like main evented every pay-per-view, which seems like a weird thing to say. But you're right. There is every chance that Gargano Black could go above that.
Yeah, we know that NXT loves to put storylines above the title often.
So I think that'd be really interesting to see. But yeah, that is the other big match that was announced because Aleister Black was looking for Johnny Gargano, but Regal revealed that he'd essentially sent him home, and he was going to have to stay at home for a little bit. But he said, you can have your match at TakeOver WarGames, and Black was thrilled about it and said that his career is going to fade to black.
That is classic William Regal being a manager there. Not cool. I've not called the police. Like, you took him out of action. You literally had to send him to hospital.
Yeah.
And like, you took him out of action, all this stuff. Go home and think about what you've done.
Yeah. You go sit on that bloody naughty step and have a good old jolly think about what you did.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed.
Well, let's get into the whole review of this week's NXT. So the show kicked off with like a recap package of who ran over Aleister Black, just to keep you all in the loop of like your big storylines going on. And then we got our first match of the evening, which was Nicola Cross, NXT's Twisted Sister, taking on Mercedes Martinez, off the old Mae Young Classic both years. Now, this is maybe going to sound like I'm being a proper negative Nancy here, and I'm trying not to be. And I know a lot of people really like Mercedes Martinez. She got a massive pop when she came out.
Yeah.
Huge pop when she came out.
Don't break the desk yet.
Sorry, I know it's brand new.
It's brand new.
So I get that a lot of people love Mercedes Martinez, but as soon as I hear her music, instantly I don't like her. Because it's the music is so annoying. It's... It really, really annoys me.
They're having a very bad run of music at the moment, NXT specifically.
And she's so good. Like, she's such a good wrestler. But as soon as I hear that music, I'm like, God, I hate you. God, I don't want you to win ever because I don't want to hear your music.
Yeah, maybe that would be the thing. She gets a really bad one for her entrance, and then she says, if I win the championship, I'll get a really good bit of music, and then you'll be like, I'm so behind you now.
Oh, what if that was like the NXT storyline for everyone? It's like, Keith Lee's music's rubbish. But if I win the title,
I'm going to get new music.
I get proper music this time. And this match was longer than I was expecting it to be. Very long. But I didn't think it was like, I mean, my note really I've got is it wasn't a great match or even a good match, but it wasn't bad either. It was just it was a lot of there. I thought it was fine.
I thought Martinez had a very good showing.
Yes.
And I think she was the one, I felt like it was fairly rote that Nikki Cross would be walking away with the victory in this one. But I did think it was going to be one of those ones where she does about 3 moves and then suddenly that's it.
Yeah.
And it was that exact match. Just went. And there were some fun little moments in it, and there was a good moment at the end where she picks up the win, and then Martinez she's looking at her and she says,
yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I like that. They were sort of staring
good.
at each other. There was this really funny moment there where they did a double down and like to get the big rapturous applause. And what they essentially got was polite applause. They essentially got jolly good showing. Nice work. But yeah,
I can see why that is good, and I will applaud it.
And I am applauding it for doing so. But yeah, so Nikki hits the purge and wins. But yeah, after the match, they had this really cool stare off, and I did like this. And I think if I was more into the match, I would have really loved this moment because it was cool. And whereas like Martinez was sort of like nodding at, and Nikki just said, "That was fun. Let's definitely do that again." And like Martinez slowly backed away. But as she was, during the replay, and this is one of the other things I love about NXT, it feels a bit more chaotic. During the replay, Candice bloody LeRae comes out. Now,
dressed in black.
Well, she's a heel. No, she's not. I don't
know. She had black lipstick on as well.
Well, here's my point. I don't think I could pick her out of a lineup because I do not know enough. But I think, based on things that I've possibly seen online, she had a bit of a Taylor Swift look about her. Now, I don't know because I don't know what. As I said, I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I could tell you what one of her songs sounds like because my wife
they're all the same.
Well, no, there's one called Style, which I thought was quite good, but I don't know what she looks like. But I've heard
such a weird choice of Taylor Swift song as well. Such an offhand, that one.
It's the one that's on our playlist.
I knew you were trouble.
That's her as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
no, I didn't like that so much.
We are never ever getting back together.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah, mate.
God, she's had a lot.
She's got a wide variety of songs.
So it seems. I really should listen to more music than just the bands that I listened to when I was 14. And just like, no, I'm done now. I found all the bands I like.
One of these days, I'll stop listening to Sum 41 and I'll learn some new music.
Oh, mate, even I didn't listen to Sum 41 when I was 14. Come on now. But they had this sort of like bit of a stare off, and they were saying all this stuff off mic, which I really like in wrestling, where it's not the contrived thing of I've got a microphone and I'm going to say something for the crowd and everyone at home to hear. This felt like a real conversation, and it was so quiet and it was so off mic. I didn't pick up on what they said until, thankfully, Nigel McGuinness was there to tell me and essentially just replayed it line by line. I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad that Nigel was there to do that and said that she wants answers. And like, it's almost like she believes in herself that Nikki is lying. Despite the fact that Johnny Gargano attacked Aleister Black last week and said, I'm right here. Yeah. She's still going up to Nikki Cross going like, you are lying.
Well, so one of the things she was saying, this is our lives, this is not a game, etc., etc. And so maybe it's more the sort of like teasing out, telling Aleister Black thing that she's sort of hinting at, rather than being like, you're lying. It's like, stop being a snitch. Snitches get stitches, blabbers, they get stabbers.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought this was really cool. And then, like, as Nikki's going up the ramp, Aleister Black comes out. And it's this kind of like chaotic, mixed world, this living universe that NXT is. And he heads down to the ring, and he just wants to know where Gargano is. And Candice doesn't really say anything because she is like 2 foot shorter than him, and he's terrifying. And he just kept saying to us, like, your husband's future is gone. I thought this was a really, like, I didn't like the match that much, but I thought as an opening segment to the show, it was very good.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, I guess, in a post-evolution world to be, we've got a women's match, but it's mostly to set up a men's angle.
I suppose.
Anyway, as good as NXT is, like, maybe it's a little too close, but obviously they filmed it before.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We then got a recap of the Mighty's match with the Street Profit from a few weeks ago, which the Mighty won by targeting Montez Ford's knee. Street Profits now the Evolve Tag Team Champions.
No mention.
No, absolutely no mention whatsoever of that, because this is one-way traffic. We will send NXT guys to you, but we will not mention you whatsoever.
We'll take your gold, but we will not wear it on television.
Again, this was filmed beforehand. So, this was Street Profits versus the Mighty. It was the rematch for this because the Mighty, not only did they hurt old Montez Ford's knee, they stole their bloody cup and their chain.
And the chain.
Oh, breaking the chain.
Why? I mean, it's a plastic cup.
Okay. No. Okay.
I can't even, Luke. It's a plastic cup. Just get another one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
how do you buy a singular plastic cup?
Well, it's got their logo on it. Also, you can buy them on WWEshop.com, so like, there's plenty of them around that they can get hold of.
I'm surprised there's not someone in the crowd who could just give you one.
There are loads of absolutely. Although maybe this one's got sentimental value. You know,
it smells of whatever's in there.
There are loads of people who have the ring from Lord of the Rings, but there's only really one that you can throw into Mount Doom.
Well, you can't anymore because it's been in Mount Doom. It no longer exists.
But I've seen loads of people in my years wearing the Lord of the Rings ring.
But I'm not. Yeah, but you're suggesting in that sense that the cup, the plastic cup that the Street Profits bring to the ring and drink from during matches, has the same value and properties and importance in the world as the One Ring.
Yeah, if Shane Thorne kept hold of that cup any longer, he'd start losing his hair. He'd be like, "Here's my precious." He'd have loved it. But anyway, so they were looking to get back their cup and chain, and sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. Yeah. But with that said,
wrestling.
The majority of my notes for this match are just how much I love the Street Profits.
They're really good.
They are my favorite tag team in NXT. They might be my favorite tag team in all of WWE. I love the Street Profits so much. They have got incredible charisma about them. Their entrance music rules. Their personas rule. Their style rules. And like even here, Montez Ford comes out and he is T.O.'d. He's T.O.'d because he hasn't got his cup. So he's still being Montez Ford. He's still showing the incredible charisma that he's got, but he is still more serious. Yeah. Like he's doing his dance, but he's not putting his whole effort into it because he's like, this is serious
It's
business.
not worth it without a cup, man.
It's not worth it without the cup. As Nigel said, they don't have their sippy cup full of juice.
Yeah.
But he is amazing.
Was it juice? I thought it was something else that he said.
I thought
it was sippy cup full of switch juice. And my note just says, "You are ridiculous, Nigel."
But this match was a lot of fun. I thought this was really great. And I think the Mighty are very good, but I'm so into Street Profits that, like, particularly Montez Ford. Dawkins is great. Like, Angelo Dawkins is very cool. But I love Montez Ford. He's so crisp. Unbelievable. He's so athletic. And the way he moves around the ring. Like, I said this the first time I saw him in NXT. I was like, he is a future WWE champion. Like, he's got everything. He's got a great physique. He's got a great look. He has got untold amount of charisma. And he's an incredible wrestler.
He can jump incredibly high as
his
well. Like,
drop kicks, man alive.
Yes, there was a series at the beginning of this match where he just did a series of amazing drop kicks.
Yeah.
And then a huge tope.
Yeah, that tope, man alive.
And it was incredible. But there was a point where that series prompted one of the commentary team, I can't remember who it was, to say, Montez Ford might be the most athletic star in NXT. And I was like, on any other day, I'd give you that. Ricochet's on this show, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
You've got Ricochet in this year, so probably not.
Yeah, probably not, though, mate.
Like last year?
Yeah.
This year?
No, probably not. Maybe second.
Yeah.
But this was a really fun match. They finally get the hot tag. And, like, Dawkins had this amazing series. Like, because when I first saw Street Profits, I did say, I was like, oh, man, Montez Ford is an absolute star. He's a future WWE champion. It's a shame he's in a tag team with Angelo Dawkins, because I've never been the biggest Dawkins fan. But it's almost like he's finally found something. He's found his character in NXT now, because he's always done like I'm stirring it or whatever it is with the bowl and whatnot, the curse of greatness. And he just lost all the time and never looked very good when he lost. So I was like, it just felt like a really hollow gimmick. It's like, whoa, bowl or whatever it is, spoon, bandana, or, sweatband.
I'm making a cake.
Do you want some? It's going to take 40 minutes to prove.
You don't.
And but all of a sudden here, I'm like, you've got this, man. And like, when you do your bowl thing, it looks wicked because you're against this just man who's so charismatic. The charisma just flows to everyone else.
Yeah,
it makes everyone else like 50 times more charismatic if you're in a match with Montez Ford.
Because you would be, like normal tag team structure for me feels like one person's usually more athletic and one person's usually the better talker. Unfortunately here, Montez Ford is both those things. However, he's so good at both that he makes Dawkins look so much. And
Dawkins looks
incredible
great
in
now.
both. Yeah,
he looks really good. I'm now a big fan of Angelo Dawkins as well.
But even in the game, because it was Dawkins that got the hot tag here, and normally it's the other way around. Dawkins would be the one getting beaten down. We've seen a lot of Dawkins get beat down and then tagging in Ford, and Ford runs wild. But here, to see it the other way around, and then Dawkins comes in and starts hitting all these crazy moves.
So good.
I love his little spinning clothesline in the corner. That's great.
I've seen a few people knock that online, but I think it's quite cool. The Mighty, quite creatively, hit a Tower of Doom like as a move. It was really cool, actually. It looked really impressive. But it was like they hit the move, and I can't remember if it's Thorne or Miller. Just sort of looked after he did the powerbomb thing, so we're like, I've just powerbombed my own teammate.
It was Miller, I think.
Was it Miller?
Powerbomb Thorne, yeah.
But it was a really cool spot. But the finish saw Montez Ford hit this springboard frog splash where I think he went about 50 foot in the air. Like, he hit the roof.
Yeah.
Like, he launched himself so high.
Couldn't do that in a working men's club.
But they've got their cup and chain back, so all is right with the world. Thank God. That's the big story. Really, that should have been
His
the
little
title of
dance
our
with
video.
it where it spins around.
Spins around his neck, yeah. That really should have been the title of this video. It's just like, they finally got their cup and chain back.
Yeah, that should have been the big shock retention of the cup and chain.
That's how you get them clicks, mate.
Yeah, that is it.
But I thought that was a lot of fun. Street Profits are the future.
I hope so.
Angel was backstage with William Regal, and that's where he announced that Ciampa is going to defend his title against Velveteen Dream at TakeOver, and we found out that it's going to be Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano.
Because he interrupts here.
Yeah, he does interrupt indeed. Not enough of the Angel on this show for my liking. Could have done with at least 3 more segments.
No, more Angel.
Yeah, more Angel.
Needs more Angel.
Needs more Angel.
Needs more Angel.
Yeah, absolutely. Would have been a 5 out of 5 show, but sometimes you just get a 4.5. We then got a nice little hype video for Matt Riddle. Backstage, we saw Lars Sullivan reacting rather poorly.
He was being very cross.
He was throwing things on the floor.
So I should be doing that. The championship is mine.
It's a spot-on Lars Sullivan impersonation. He did feel more riotous than the Riot Squad, though.
He did. Well, he actually knocked stuff over that was important and like picked proper things up. Oh no! He's facing the wrong way.
Oh. But yeah, so it was a cool little segment, and that's when he said he's going to rip Dream apart. And they announced later on in the show that they're going to have a match next week. Mm-hmm. Cool stuff. Then we got the debut, the in-ring NXT debut
Of Luke Menzies. I mean,
of Matthew Riddle as he took on Luke Menzies, who I believe was from Leeds. So I'm sure he'll get a good showing on NXT UK. And actually, Menzies had more of this match than you would imagine, given that it was Riddle's debut, and he did look very cool in doing it. But I'm such a fan of Matt Riddle. I'm such a mark for Matt Riddle. It was really funny on the WrestleTalk Discord this morning. I went in to check the NXT reactions. And there was a few people in there who haven't seen Matt Riddle before, and all they could talk about was he doesn't wear boots.
Yeah, and he don't wear shoes.
And they were like, does he not have the memo that you're supposed to wear boots while wrestling? And I'm like, no, that's what makes Matt Riddle so cool. Because he doesn't wear boots. He's just barefoot. And
he's the only one not slapping his leg when he's kicking people because his foot's doing it.
And he looks so cool. He's got a really cool look about him. I love the King of Bros.
I'm so glad they let him keep all of it.
Yeah.
Like, they just went, you just, like, they're so often like, let's tweak this, let's change that, let's do this. And they just went, you just do you.
You just
like,
do you. Come out in the
flip-flops
jacket.
and all.
Flip-flops,
like,
do all that. Yeah, the bro mission, it's all there. Like, and it's great. He hit like a big senton, the big knee to the face, like rains down his elbows and then locks in the bro mission for the win. Very short match, but I very much enjoyed it. A solid debut for Matthew.
There was a lovely bit where he did, he flipped over out of a test of strength when they tried to do like back-to-back. Flipped out and then went for a monkey flip. But then as the monkey flip went up, twisted it and dropped it down into a submission. That was wicked.
Matthew Riddle, he's so good. Like, it's unreal how good Matt Riddle is at professional wrestling. Like, you know, people always said about Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, were those guys that they just picked this up so quickly.
Yeah.
I think Shayna Baszler is one of those people as well, that she's just picked up pro wrestling and has got it down as an art form in her rookie year. You know, and she's not been doing this very long, but she already feels like a star. Charlotte was the same way. Matt Riddle is one of those guys for me. Like, he came in from the UFC world, and already he's just like one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. He's like in my top 3 wrestlers at the moment, like in the entire world. I think he's absolutely incredible.
I think it's the benefit of being a multi-sport athlete in that sense, and especially doing stuff like MMA or already being an actual amateur wrestler, or gymnastics as well. That sort of thing of like practicing moves over and over again, that kind of stuff, like locks and all that stuff. It just makes you so crisp.
Yeah,
like Rousey's got the same thing. She's walked in. Obviously, she had a much longer developmental period out of sight. But she walks in and she sells amazingly because obviously they've just gone, this is just how you sell this move, and she just does it. But the actual move and hitting everything is so on point all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's credit to Riddle, Baszler, and Rousey as well. We said this about Rousey matches, that when she sells, it looks real because she knows what that feels like.
Yes,
because she's been in a real combat sport, she knows what real selling is. And so I think that Matt Riddle has that sort of...
Maybe there should be a bit at the Performance Center where they just hang you up and then other people just punch you and then you know.
Okay, now I know. I get it now.
You have to go through a whole torture bit to like come out the other end and be this amazing seller. Absolutely.
I mean, the only thing I'm very sad about with Matt Riddle is that his gold chant has not followed him, which is very sad. Most chants, like when Noam Dar was in the Cruiserweight Classic, da 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 da, that travelled, but bro, always believe in your soul. That did not travel.
I'm sure
NXT.
it will.
I'm hoping it gets picked up. I hope it gets there.
But it's also Spandau Ballet, though, isn't it? And it's particularly British rather than. I think being an American thing. I mean, Matt Riddle, if they ever do an NXT UK again, it's coming. It's the same as the Hey Bailey thing.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a coming.
It's a coming. When he comes back, he'll get it. Then we got a recap of Shayna Baszler winning the... If you just heard some drilling, they're doing something next door. We got a recap of Shayna Baszler winning the NXT Women's Championship at Evolution and how Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir got involved. And it
Naughty.
was very naughty. It was worth this recap being there because we did not give this enough credence and enough shout out. There was one of our Patreon backers, one of our pledge hammers in the front row wearing her Support WrestleTalk t-shirt. And it was there again. And I was like, there's Val. There she is, wearing our t-shirt. Yes, what a hero. But then we got a backstage WWE.com interview after the show with the Angel. And Baszler said that she proved her point. Kyrie didn't beat her at Brooklyn. She lost. Baszler lost. She didn't beat me. I just lost the match.
She didn't bring enough people.
That's why I love it so much. It's great because really it is Baszler there going like,
beautiful delusion.
I've just proved my point. Yeah. I can beat her. And then with Duke and Shafir standing going, yeah, she did. Yeah, it wasn't us.
Entirely on her own. But then you hear Sane coming down the corridor,
screaming, Shayna! And she could barely breathe. She's really selling the submission well. And she had the stagehand almost holding her up. It's like Weekend
but also stopping her getting there.
Yeah.
Hello, the desk.
Bit of the table's fallen off. And Shayna was just holding up the champion, just shouting, "You're not the champion anymore." I thought this was great. I'm assuming they're going to be setting up a rematch at TakeOver WarGames.
Yes, and which I hope Baszler comes out with the title in the treasure chest, in her own treasure chest.
Oh no, but I like when she just pushed the treasure chest over because you're like, that's dumb. This is stupid.
This is stupid.
I'm real. We found out that Lacey Evans will be in action next week, which means I can look forward to her music being stuck in my head all day, as well as the Velveteen Dream versus Lars Sullivan. And then we got our final match to discuss, which was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Raul Mendoza and Humberto Carrillo.
So my first note for this was when it was coming out, because I'd looked at the time and I was like, well, there's still this other thing to happen.
Yeah.
So I'd written, as they were coming out, I'm pretty sure Lorcan and Burch are going to squash this. No,
absolutely not. I had the same thing. I was like, there's 12 minutes left of this show. Either this match is not going long or we're not getting a main event.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm very glad that this match did not go short.
Yeah, man.
Because this was terrific. I thought this was great. Because really, this is like Burch and Lorcan, they're being Birkin are being sort of pushed as this tag team. They're getting a bit of a mini push off the back of the match they had at TakeOver earlier this year, and now that Oney Lorcan is back, and they're sort of like, these guys are working their way back up the tag team ranks so they can get that tag team title shot again. So I thought, and it's Raul Mendoza, he just comes in so he can lose. He was in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
And this Humberto Carrillo lad, he's just here. They're just, you're two lads. You go take the pinfall. You're not even in matching gear.
This time you're the enhancement talent.
Exactly. You be some enhancement stuff. But it wasn't. In fact, Carrillo and Mendoza got a really good showing and looked incredible in doing so. They looked absolutely awesome. I thought they had a really, really good showing here. And the NXT tag team division is stacked. So it's almost like you could, the last thing we need is one more team, another bloody team in this division. But I want to see more of them. I thought they were terrific.
Yeah, I think if they ever's they are shoo-ins for a 205, if there's ever a 205 tag title thing, scooch them in over there because they are absolute shoo-ins. There was an amazing springboard arm drag that went so high.
Yeah.
There was a load of flippy dodges from Mendoza. There was a double dive that was crazy, and then there was a moonsault from Carrillo that was a work of art.
Oh, wasn't it just?
He went so high and then landed. I think it was Lorcan got his feet up.
Yeah.
And so he took it in the face.
But Lorcan to get his feet up had to go up onto his shoulders.
Yeah.
Usually you get the knees up on a moonsault. Lorcan got his whole. It was like DDP yoga. Got up onto his shoulders, got his feet right up into the air, caught him right on the chin, and he's got this massive springing bump off the back of it. It looked wicked.
It was wicked.
I would love to see these two as a regular tag team. There's, as I said, the tag team division is really stacked at the moment. You've got War Raiders, you've got the Undisputed Era, you've got Mustache Mountain if they're going to be doing stuff with NXT as well as NXT UK. Yep. Heavy Machinery, Street Profits, who I absolutely love, the Mighty. So that's already
Sons of what I haven't.
Absolutely. I even forgot about them.
Lost Sons? What are they called?
Sons of Anarchy, let's be honest.
Sons of Anarchy, yeah.
And
what are they called? The Forgotten Sons.
The Forgotten Sons, that's it. So
apt.
Irony. But so it almost feels like, we don't need another tag team. You're not going to get a massive push. However, like you say, if they ever did do those 205 Live tag team titles, man, I would love to see them And I mean, I don't watch 205 Live, but they might make me want to watch 205 Live
Yeah.
because they are very, very good.
We should be watching 205 Live.
We should be watching.
Apparently,
it.
the Mustafa Ali Hideo Itami match this week was very, very good.
I have little doubt of that. Unfortunately, there's not
I've
enough
seen a
hours
couple.
in the
I've seen
week.
some gifs, and it is. It's pretty sweet.
There's just not enough hours in the day, annoyingly, or in the week, really, to
No.
watch all of the content.
You do watch too much wrestling.
Yeah, like NXT, like NXT UK are now doing 2 episodes a week. Like I haven't got time to watch all of this wrestling and do my job.
It's only to get through. It's just to get through stuff.
it
Though.
really
We're
is,
just trying to get to the point where we're up to date.
Exactly, yeah. It really does highlight how, like, and we said this when we started doing NXT reviews 2 weeks ago, like when we did our first one. That was the same week that NXT UK launched. And throughout the day, I got a lot of messages on Twitter. I had some messages on Patreon. People going like, "Oh, you're going to review NXT UK? You're going to review NXT UK?" And we said like, "No, we might talk about it. We haven't really watched it. We did a bit of a recap in there." You check the comments. No one was talking about NXT UK, and ever since then, no one has sent me a message about it because everyone has gone like, yeah, I'll wait until this taping
Yeah, we
cycle
kind of need to
is
get
out.
through the who's going to be the other champions bit first,
Yeah, we need
which
to
we've
get all
we've
that.
clearly been skirting around because a lot of their talent has appeared in the Mae Young Classic or at Evolution or various other things doing things. So we need to know who these who's going to win these titles.
Yes, we need to just get out this taping cycle that was done back in June, and then we can really get into this NXT UK brand. Because Rhea Ripley, spoiler, she was at Evolution defending the title in the dark match, but it wasn't shown on the pre-show because they can't show that because it hasn't aired yet.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But anyway, so I thought it was a really, really fun episode of NXT. Back to the point at hand, and it was, as I said, I wasn't massively keen on the opening match, but I thought everything else on the show was pretty much terrific. And I loved that closing angle. Really liked Matt Riddle's debut, and I loved the Oney, Lorcan, Danny Burch, Raul Mendoza, and Humberto
Carrillo.
Humberto Carrillo. Thank you very much. I thought that match was terrific. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, this was a solid NXT episode.
Yeah.
It did one big story bit.
Yeah.
And then everything else was just really good matches. Like, you wouldn't, we were talking at length about a story that was just about a cup. But actually, it gave us a great match and a good, and actually like a fairly welcomed response from the crowd, going like, "Yeah, they got the cup back. They got that cup.
Finally, we can all sing Fleetwood Mac together at long last." And credit to NXT. That was 4 matches, all of which felt like they had the right amount of time. And you had backstage segments, and you had a killer main event angle, and you had all this stuff. Like, it's such a well-paced show.
Yes.
Thumbs up, NXT. I thought it was a 4.5 out of 5 show. As I said, it was a perfect show with more Kathy Kelly. Like, that's all you need, guys. Like, it's just get, learn. But that is all we've got time for on this show. Please do click the videos that have appeared on the top of this table to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk awesome things, and this button up here, which will subscribe you to the WrestleRamble podcast with some intros and some outros, free of charge. Great stuff to listen to. I have been Lorcan. This has been El Fakador Laurie Blake, and that was NXT Rambling.